Hello from Virginia International Raceway, and welcome to Round 6 of the TC America Championship, powered by Skip Barber Racing School. My name is Ryan Marine. Calvin Fish joins me in the booth. Amanda Busick is on the pit lane. Round 5 of the championship took place yesterday here at VIR, and if you joined us for that, you will know that that race ended early because of a heavy accident involving driver Mark Pombo. We are pleased to be able to deliver this update that Mark was alert and conscious as the medical crews reached the incident. He was taken to the medical center and transported to a hospital for further evaluation as dictated by the SRO's concussion protocol. But all in all, after the scary flip that he went through, good news concerning driver Mark Pombo. However, to the task at hand, and that is the second race of the weekend. All these drivers, they've got to put that behind them and go racing here today. And it is a massive grid of touring cars, 3 different classes, Calvin. 3 different green flags when we start this race coming up here in just a few moments.
Yeah, we saw some really great action until that red flag towards the end of the run yesterday, so we expect everyone to pick up from there. 2 of our championship leaders had great days, with Jacob Rood continuing to march forward, his 5th consecutive victory in the TCX class. Caleb Bacon got his 3rd win of the year to extend his lead in TCA, but Kevin Boehm been struggling here a little bit, kind of mid-pack all weekend long, the TC leader, so he's got to rebound a little bit here today, and he's lost that lead to Eric Powell overnight.
Yeah, they've been working hard on that car. Mechanical issue. They said they worked deep into the night trying to fix Kevin's car. Continued into the day today. The good news is they're the last series to run today in the SRO America umbrella, so plenty of time for them to try and get those repairs, get that car ready to go. But he starts a ways back on the inside of the 3rd row as far as the TC field is concerned. And then we saw a great battle yesterday from some youngsters. Caleb Bacon, Michael Carter dueling it out in TCA. Luke Rumberg was in the picture as well. They all start in the top 3. They're joined in the front 2 rows by Carter Fartuk. And behind them, PJ Gronke from Tech Sport Racing, overcoming some issues mechanically earlier this weekend, but it's been a good weekend all in all for Tech Sport here on home soil. Unfortunately, one of their TC competitors, Joe Federo, unable to take the start today. That car was withdrawn. Not entirely sure what the cause for that was, but unfortunately an early end to his weekend, one that showed a great deal of promise early on. Looks like the field is completing the second of 2 formation laps, 2 different pace cars to start this race as well. We've got the TCX field already coming to the green flag with Jacob Rood, undefeated so far this season, leading the field to green. He's on the left-hand side of the screen, already getting a big jump on the rest of this 6-car field as they take that green flag and thunder into turn 1.
Yeah, Samantha Tan there in that bright BMW, kind of 3rd on the inside line there. Looked like she had a good start. Now we're looking at the TC field takeoff.
Austin Smith on class pole. Tom Capizzi alongside. Smith with a big win yesterday, trying to guard that inside lane jealously. Looks like that could be Rob Hines trying to follow his through on the inside lane, jumping up from the 2nd row, possibly up into 2nd. That's that yellow Tech Sport car, but it's actually 3 wide. Here comes Kevin Boehm. And now the TCA field coming through for the first time. It is side by side in the front row there with Michael Carter and Caleb Bacon. Bacon comes out on top.
Yeah, Rumbo trying to put the pressure on there in the 2nd of the signal entries as well. Very tight there through turn 3. Action around this racetrack everywhere amongst these 3 classes.
That was an aggressive start for Kevin Boehm. Came from the back like we talked about, able to charge up a couple positions. Here is the TC field, all mixed up further back, but what a great start it was from Austin Smith. He pulled away.
Yeah, he's just taken off right now. Tom Capizzi coming off a really strong run in GT4 Sprint X competition earlier today, trying to settle back into the touring car competition. He's feeling the heat.
That was the new Garagistic team. 2 teammates running, one by the other there, Matthew Ibrahim and Chris Valdez. But back to the front of the field, the TCX cars.
Olivia Askew has made the move around Chris Walsh up to 3rd here. Samantha Tan following.
Walsh in the gunmetal gray car with Flying Tiger-esque shark jaw on that car. Tribute to the Air Force. Walsh himself, an active duty Air Force soldier. A little bit further back, though, he's dropped that 1 spot. As you mentioned, Cal up front, Jacob Rood doing what he's done all year long.
Yeah, he's been pretty dominant And it's just continuing to show the way here. Steve Strymer giving chase here with a hard motorsports entry. And then it's Olivia Askew, followed by Chris Walsh and Samantha Tan.
Steve was close yesterday. He was able to stay within striking distance. If the race had gone the distance, I'm not sure he would have had enough to challenge Jacob Rude, but it was not totally a foregone conclusion. Trying to do the same thing here after Rude got that tremendous jump coming to the green flag. And it's not to say he did anything wrong, he just timed it perfectly.
Yeah, Steve on his day is really tough to beat, and he's certainly keeping everyone on. Oh, action drama here in turn 3. That's Askew has gone around. I'm not sure if there was contact between her and Walsh.
Olivia Askew, her father David Askew, was just racing in the GT World Challenge America race. You saw a DXDT on the side of the car, but that car is not being run by DXDT Racing. That is out of the classic BMW stable.
Those two competitors had gotten together there because Samantha Tan has skipped through and is down the road.
Taking a look back, this is Jose Blanco, I think, the new GMC Fiabreuse Motorsports car. Appears to have had some kind of an issue, if I'm not mistaken. Caleb Bacon is leading in that class over Carter Fartuck, who's jumped up over Luke Rumberg in the last lap. They run relatively close together, those three, and this is the overall leader. So, yeah, something seems to have gone wrong for Jose Blanco. Already lap traffic for the overall leader.
I was about to say the same thing. I don't think Jacob Rude was thinking about encountering lap traffic this early in the race, as everyone is settling back in again.
Talked about the start that Rob Hines got in that yellow Nissan. Veteran of SEC runoffs experience here, I think, at this track. And has had a good weekend, all told, for the Techsport team that is based here.
One of the LA Honda World TC entries going slow.
Could be just behind this car. Is that what you were seeing?
Yes,
I think you're right. Might be Shishizniak. Was listed down in 18th and ahead, just ahead of Caleb Bacon, the TCA leader on the road the last time they went by the start-finish line.
Caleb Bacon, we're looking for his 4th win out of 6 races this season. Really nice young man, comes from a racing background with his father and his grandfather, who really one of the Mazda standouts in GT competition for many years, Al.
Swept the weekend at Coda. Chance to do it again.
Bohm here and Jeff Ricker going hard at it through turn 1, side by side as they accelerate away.
This is for 5th in class, so after the good start, Bohm seems to have backed up a bit. Just have not been able to get that car quite to his liking, whether it's a mechanical issue or something setup-wise or both. I know they dealt with mechanical issues. Just has not been a normal Kevin Bohm weekend.
They had a strut collapse on them in practice the other day, and we're working hard overnight to get that fixed, but didn't really have the pace in qualifying yesterday. And then he's very concerned about these high ambient and track temperatures that we're seeing here at VIR that has an effect on the power of that Honda. He said, I really need to be in fresh air. He said, if I'm behind someone, look for me to find that fresh air and not run line astern, which can really hurt your ability to race and get the draft and get the advantage from that.
He's won a couple of races so far this year, one at Sonoma, one at Circuit of the Americas. Came into the weekend with the points lead, like you said, but not a great day yesterday. And Eric Powell did have a good run yesterday, and so that has changed the points perspective, but still very early in the going. About half a dozen, 8 races left to go in the season. Too soon to be worrying too much about that. Austin Smith at the front of this shot. It's the all-white BMW. Just a moment ago was the pole sitter and pulled away. He's seen that lead come down somewhat. I think he's had to make his way through some TCX traffic there.
Capizzi's got back into a rhythm. Didn't have the best couple of corners. Was kind of buried with a gaggle of cars, and that allowed Austin to skip away a little bit. And now it seems like Capizzi's got into a rhythm.
Tom Capizzi coming into the weekend at least a best finish of 4th. That was in the first race at Sonoma. 7th in points before this weekend started. Finished 5th in this class in the point standings last year, racing for Auto Technic. That's despite missing the races at Sonoma and Road America. He's been a stalwart thus far in this championship campaign.
Had a great run this morning in GT4 Sprint X competition with John Capestro to Betts. They had the lead, were very much vying, and then went a little bit pear-shaped at the end of that race, but nonetheless, very strong performance by that whole team this weekend. Auto Technica up on it. Seems like the setup's dialed in for all of their cars here, whatever class it may be.
This is the fourth place running car, Michael Carter, making his debut in the series this weekend. Tech Sport very involved with entries in both TC and TCA. His teammate PJ Gronke just behind. Michael Carter learning this type of racing with this type of car. Comes from a Spec Miata background in MX-5 Cup, where he's been extremely successful, winning the championship last year for his presumably family-owned Carter Racing Enterprises team. 3 wins, 8 podiums, 6 fastest laps in that campaign last year, and has had a great start to the 2021 campaign in that series too.
Well, he recognizes with these relatively low horsepower cars, these TCA cars develop about 200 horsepower. So it's all about momentum. You can't overdrive them. You've got to be super smooth, and he's certainly showing that capability. He's now putting the pressure back on our leader, Caleb Baker. He's a little bit wide there. Yeah, those front wheel drive tires screaming for mercy there off of Oak Tree.
Yeah, this is fantastic. Look how tight this is. Bacon, Fartuck, and the Skip Barber liveried car just behind. And then third place, that would be Bacon's teammate, and that's Rumberg, who dropped a spot in the very early going, now trying to work that slipstream Hyundai versus Honda down Madison Avenue.
Yeah, Rumberg looks really good, so he's really starting to find his stride as well this season. Been knocking on the door. Finished third here yesterday, so we'll have to see that top step of the podium sooner rather than later.
We've seen him racing Volkswagen Golf GTI touring car in the past, a couple of different championships, but seems to be a pretty good home for him here with this Forbush Performance team based out of Memphis, Tennessee. And here he comes on the attack, trying to find his way around Carter Fartuck. Fartuck able to hold him off for now. 10 minutes into this race, going through the horseshoe here. Fartuck, though, still on the defensive. Rumberg's not done.
Yeah, he's definitely going for it. Fartuck's had a really good run, though. Got up to that second position. And Carter taking a peek down at the inside of turn 4.
And Carter doing everything he needs to do to hold off Rumberg for the moment. Carter Fartuck, that is. Michael Carter is right behind, running in fourth, and it is well and truly a 4-car battle, and it might expand before it's all said and done, with PJ Gronke in the mix, and right behind one of the minis out of the LAP Motorsports team.
Good to see them having a good day today.
Yeah, especially after Mark's crash yesterday in the TC spec car. How safe these modern race cars are, everything from GT3 cars down to these touring cars.
Nice roll of speed there by Rumberg through Oak Tree. Able to get alongside. Can he use that Hyundai power to his advantage there down the backstretch?
That might be his chance. We shall see as we drop back and look here at the 31. And that's one of the Hard Motorsports cars. I think that's Adam Harding, the team owner.
In the 7th position, try to chase after Jeff Ricker and Kevin Boehm. So a lot of competition in this class. You talk about Kevin Boehm coming off that TCA championship last year, early championship leader with a couple of victories early in this move to TC. But if you have a slightly off day, it really demonstrates how deep the competition is in this TC class.
Harding, the team owner, this team based out of Spokane, Washington. We saw them show up a couple of years ago and run selective races. I think they might have debuted in Portland, if memory serves. Might have been Sonoma, but last year really stepped up. Ran Steve Strymer alongside Johann Schwartz. We've seen Adam driving from time to time as well. It's a really fun team. Coming from the club level, the amateur level of racing, making this big step up, and found success on the right day. They can run at the pointy end, and no one stays up there for long. It's a revolving door, it seems. That's how close the competition is in this class.
Yeah, a lot of development going on with some of these chassis as well in touring car with the new Mini, of course, and Kevin Bone working first time with this TC Honda.
This is awesome stuff right here. That is first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Nose to tail in a train. And here comes Rumberg looking to make a move on his teammate. And he's side by side at a part of the track. You don't see this happen all that often. And Luke Rumberg has made the pass on Caleb Bacon.
He looks strong since the drop of the green flag here, and it looks like it's going to drop Bacon another position, maybe more, as they exit turn 10. So his teammate takes advantage, and Caleb Bacon has got to get back into his rhythm here.
It shows how important momentum is in these low horsepower cars, relatively low horsepower cars. A little lift in a strange place when everyone keeps their foot in it, and you get shuffled to the back. Look at how Luke Rumberg has been able to run away from this mix. Caleb Bacon trying to fight back. He's side by side with Carter and Gronke, and the two Tech Sport teammates drafting together. This looks like Talladega.
It does. Look at Gronke picking up that draft. Will he try and pop out as they get to the brake zone?
Devin Jones in the Mini, making it a 6-car fight.
It looks like what has happened here in the last 2 minutes of this race. Went from first all the way back to fifth, and his teammates off in a different zip code right now. Has really taken off. Great run by Luke Rumberg. Saw that pace earlier, even though he's sitting back there in the third position. He looked like he had a lot of drive off of Oak Tree. Was really rolling good apex speed as well.
Here we go, side by side again. It's not over yet. 18 car side by side with Gronke. And now we've got Fartug and Carter. Not Carter Fartug against himself, but Michael Carter and Carter Fartug. Not
Don't
doing
get
us any
those mixed
favors.
up. You could have a problem.
For now, Carter Fartug is able to hold off Michael Carter, who's been super impressive this weekend. A lot of young talent in this mix. Oh, a little bit wide there from Bacon. We'll see if PJ Gronke can use that to his advantage.
I wonder if Bacon's got an issue because his teammate has taken off. And I know he got out shuffled there, but look at the distance that his teammate has made in essentially just over a lap. Caleb Bacon, our championship leader, is backing up through this field rapidly. Samantha Tan running in third overall and in TCX. Nice run here today for her. These two got together, I believe, or they were off the road at the same time. Not sure if one had an issue and one took evasive action going through turn 3 early in this race. But they're back together.
Yeah, you're right about that. Chris Walsh making his pro racing debut. His dad got to wave the green flag yesterday. That must have been very cool. And his own son passing underneath. And Samantha Tan, relatively young, but still lots of experience, tons of laps this year in long-distance, 24-hour type races in Europe and the Middle East. And pairing up this TCX program where it fits in her very busy schedule. Not the best effort as far as the starting position is concerned. That was based off of fastest lap from yesterday's race. But we've seen this from Samantha. She does race well, and it's very rare that she drops back. It always seems like she's moving forward.
It does, but she's got a fierce competitor behind her. Chris is a member of the U.S. bobsled team. He's one of the current team hopefuls trying to get to Beijing in 2022. So he's used to a high level of competition and total commitment. Those guys are crazy in those bobsleds.
They are indeed. It is amazing. Something I'd love to see in person sometime. I suspect it's something like motorsports where unless you've seen it, once you've had it go right past you, you really just don't know. Looks like full course yellow here. Full course yellow, and that's going to bring some of these battles closer together. We've got a car off at the end of the back straightaway. Saw a car just briefly there in the tire barriers. Looked to me like it might have been one of the TCA cars. As soon as we know more, we will pass that along. We talked about the commitment that this place takes. Talked also about Devin Jones in that Mini. He had a very serious crash at this track in a different series a few years back, did Devin. And he's back at it. As far as we're aware, this is his first time back at VIR in a race car, at least since that crash that caused some broken bones in his back.
Yeah, and that was a wild ride, and great to see him want to get back in a race car, you have a moment like that, and it certainly gets your attention. So, but he's a racer, and he said at the time, even though he was in a back brace at the time, he said, no, I'm going to get back as soon as I can. He's a great competitor, great racer, really is always up at the sharp end of the field.
Doing exactly that here. Just mixing it up inside the top 5, top 6 in TCA. Safety car here will neutralize the field. So the big lead from Rude has been cut down. I think we got a replay coming, and we'll see why we are in full course yellow.
Went down into turn 14. Oh, big touch there. Oh, that's a big ride.
And that
Heavy
is Devin
impact.
Jones.
My goodness.
We're just telling that story.
That's a similar area of the racetrack where he had his issue
And then
a couple of years ago.
Looks like PJ Gronke in the other tire barrier on the other side of the track. Great to see Devin out of that car. He's taking a look at the damage there, and, well, just happy he can walk away and wince at that one.
Across at PJ, I'm not sure who was at fault there. Maybe we'll get another look at this one and see if it was just a racing incident going for the same part of the racetrack. It's tricky when you come down into that brake zone along Madison Avenue. And you think, okay, you want to be on the inside, which would be for the right, but initially as you'd make that little kink there, you're on the outside of that particular part of the racetrack, just as you go onto the brake pedal.
It's been a tough weekend for this team. Remember, LAP Motorsports, they not only run this mini team, we saw the TC Spec Mini go on a wild ride that ultimately ended our race early yesterday. Mark Pombo is more or less okay, but at the hospital. Wish you the speedy recovery, Mark.
Texted with his dad, Pepe, and he said, Mark's going to be okay. Appreciate everyone's well wishes from the paddock, and we look forward to seeing Mark back in competition.
And now this car from the same team, and just in TCA spec with some damage. And they had a big crash with Mike Lamara, too, in the LA Honda World side of that tent. I mean, really, they're paddocked in different areas, but it is more or less the same group running those two teams. And that car suffered extensive damage, too. So, tough weekend all around. And a weekend that I know team owner Louis Pericarpi was hoping to be celebrating. His son graduated from high school, so he's actually not here. He flew back home to Indiana to be there for the graduation ceremony. Not getting the kind of updates that he was hoping for. Let's go back down to the pits in Amanda.
Well, one of the battles right before that full course yellow was the battle between Michael Carter and Carter Fortune. I talked to Dustin, who, if he's shown right here, he talks to Carter in his ear. Carter only wants information from intervals and lap times. Dustin said that he likes to stay in the zone, but that's the information that's helping him and should help him on this restart.
Good information to have, that's for sure.
Some people want to know everything. It's like literally you got a constant dialogue going on, and others just give me the minimal information. Just give me the gaps and let me get my head down. Just Kimi Räikkönen would say.
And I've got to issue a mea culpa here. I think I got my D. Joneses confused. Derek Jones versus Devin Jones. Different Joneses, both though. Some big crashes here at VIR, so apologies there. And we got one of the TC Spec Hyundais off the track there in the background. Is that Kurt Waschheim or Jeff Ricca? Must be Kurt.
I think it was Kurt, because we saw that car off heading up through the S's yesterday. I think it's the same color scheme. Chevy just pulled it out of harm's way, and they're going to try and back up into that safety zone there.
He had something go wrong for him yesterday, if memory serves. Seemed like he stopped on track, so that's unfortunate. He's had some good runs so far this season. Debuted, I think it was at COTA. Did Kurt. And didn't get the results necessarily, but showed some good pace. Jeff Ricca as well, the team owner, and doing so much work in developing that TC Spec Hyundai Veloster. He is the North American distributor for that car, basically. Brian Herta Autosports so involved with Hyundai on the TCR side as well as the TCA side. But it is the Gen Racer group that's spearheading the effort. for the TC spec car. Big aspirations for that, and so many of these manufacturers seeing what BMW pioneered and getting a turnkey race car for touring car type level racing, and the success BMW had first with the M235i, then the M240. Now we're starting to see offerings coming from Honda and from Hyundai. Mazda's had something in the works. It's a shame we didn't have the Cork Sport guys here this weekend, Joey Jordan and company, but we do expect they'll be back at some point this year. And it seems like it's really the new way of doing business in sports car racing. The manufacturers build the car, totally ready to go. You just turn up and go racing, and then the manufacturer provides the support.
Yeah, and it's nice because building a bespoke race car can be very expensive. So if a manufacturer will do that at a very high level at a price point that works, it makes tremendous sense. And plus you got the customer service in terms of the parts availability and everything. And then if your car becomes a popular model, typically the manufacturers have a lot of those parts on site for these racetracks as well. So it works for everyone. It's a win-win situation.
And we've seen that starting up in GT3 and certainly GT4. And now down to the touring car level. Let's take another look at this, Calvin.
Yeah, I think the Mini was just committed to that left-hand side of the road, and I think as PJ started to inch back online, they just misjudged it a little bit. So if anything, you'd lay it on PJ a little bit if there was any responsibility. The Mini had the run, and PJ just tried to get back online there as you start to approach that corner.
Now, unfortunately, two very good race cars end up out of this race. Happy to see Jones walk away from that accident.
It's really tricky there to coexist. It kind of bends, and you're trying to just start to think about going to the middle pedal and slowing things down. Unfortunately, the two drivers just got it wrong in terms of the communication there.
So Jacob Rude out in front as the cleanup continues. Steve Strymer runs in second. Samantha Tan in podium position.
Just got a report from Amanda down on pit lane. We talked about Caleb Bacon dropping back. These high temperatures here this weekend. He does have a car that is running hot, so he's trying to find some clean air and get it to cool down a little bit. This will help a little bit. You're not running at speed to get the air going through the grills and everything, but obviously he has the opportunity to not be stressing the engine out, so ultimately this should help him a little bit.
That car was out in front, and usually that's when you're getting the most air to the radiator, the most cooling being done. Then he got shuffled back into the pack, and maybe that's when the temps came up. I'm not sure, or if one led to the other.
So much of these cars are based on the road-going versions, and they all have these safety provisions built in when the engine and the electronics start to see a certain temperature range. They'll basically back everything off in terms of the power, so that you don't damage it if you're just running the car on the street.
Looking through the running order here. Be curious what this does for Olivia Askew. I think she's still there in the mix as far as her position in line with the rest of the TCX cars. I think I spotted her there. And so we'll see if she can come back up through the field. We know she's got some pace. In the meantime, though, let's go back to the pits. Amanda's got an update for us.
We did make it down to Hard Motorsports as we get ready for this restart. Steve Strymer's goal here today, you see Jacob in that #1 spot. There was a 5-second gap in race 1 yesterday. It's not necessarily a goal here to win. They are realistic in their expectations, but they just want to close that gap of 5 seconds on Jacob. And there's nothing more important than this restart here. The guy in his ear is actually down at the pit out to make sure that they see the green flag as soon as, or the restart as fast as possible.
Yeah, you know, you hear about spotters in other forms of motorsports. It's not as frequently implemented in sports car racing, touring car racing, outside of a place like Daytona, for instance, where you can position someone who can see the entire circuit. But what you will notice, if you're working in the pit lane here, is when you get close to the restart, a crew member from every team is going to walk right down or ride a golf cart or whatever down near that flag stand to have the best possible view, be on the radio as quick as possible to make sure that the restart goes off without a hitch.
Yeah, it's like that curving front straightaway. If you're mid-pack or further back in the field, very difficult to see that. Certainly the front runners will see the green flag because they're going to time that in terms of dropping that green flag on the front row and the front of the pack, but it's good for the teams to have that. You can't pass until you get to the stripe, however, so even if you get alerted and the guy in front of you or driver in front of you is not up on the stick early, you still got to time that run.
Got to look there at Rob Hines in the yellow car, that yellow Nissan. Podium contention at the moment in the TC class. Had a podium in the second race at Sonoma. Finished 8th in both races at Circuit of the Americas, but guy who's done a lot of club racing, run at the runoffs for a long time in a bunch of different classes. T2, Spec Miata, T3 over the years. Was on the podium at the runoffs at Road America last year in a Spec Miata. Did win at least one national championship, I know, back in 1999 in the T2 class. And stepping into the pro ranks here, it's been an okay season all in all, but here on home soil, tech sport based on the premises here at VIR, he and this car have shown a great amount of pace.
Very strong indeed, and right behind him is Eric Powell, who for so many years ran with the tech sport team, of course, and he leads the championship coming into today's race based on his result here yesterday over the championship leader coming into this weekend, Kevin Boehm. So they sit line astern right now, so not on the podium right now, but certainly championship and big picture is very important. It's a twofer. You gain a couple of points or you lose a couple of points. You add that together, it'll be a big change coming out this weekend.
Well, look who's right behind him. That's the championship battle basically playing out on track as we go red here at VIR. That might mean this race is done early. Boehmer, because I was really interested to see a potential Eric Powell-Kevin Boehm battle. Does not necessarily look like that's the direction we're going to go here, however. There was a big hit, and there's a very good chance that barrier repairs could be necessary for the second day in a row here in TC America.
That's a shame. It's frustrating with these 40-minute races to suddenly lose, you know, essentially 30-40% of that race. A lot of effort goes into being here these weekends. And, you know, for our leaders, they'll be happy to get another win on the board. And but for a lot of the competitors here, this is disappointing. Disappointing for us. I thought we were going to see some really spicy action here before the checkered flag tonight.
Well, it had been a good race up to that point. That TCA battle, unbelievable. First through sixth, all nose to tail running together and swapping positions, drafting back and forth, a little bump drafting even from time to time. I mean, that's what makes the TC classes so fascinating, is how close they are between them and also the differences between the cars, and yet the speeds come out the same at the end. It looks like, though, it's going to come to an end a bit too early, so Jacob Root keeps the win streak going. This is a weekend, Calvin, in other series here that we've seen win streaks snapped. Not so much in TCX.
No, 6 for 6. He's tough to beat right now, but as Amanda alluded to, Steve Strymer's trying to keep the pressure on him, and as this season moves forward, I mean, he missed the opening rounds with TCX. He ran a TC car at Sonoma, so he's learning this this new model, and he'll get stronger and stronger, so maybe he can give Jacob a hard time at Road America, which will be the next rounds of our championship.
Steve Strymer talked about what his goals were, had finished 4th and 3rd in his first weekends of TCX competition, started the year in TC, finished 6th and 8th at Sonoma, then 4th and 3rd in his first TCX weekend at Coda. A couple runner-up finishes here this weekend. He came in, tied for 5th in points. That's only going to improve. Might not be enough to run down Jacob Root at this point, who is really not letting anybody else into that conversation, but should be good for Steve to at least get closer to 2nd, considering he didn't run the first 2 races of the year in this class.
Yeah, looking at that TCA class, Caleb Bacon, our championship leader, didn't have the opportunity to let those engine temps drop and get back to a podium position. He finishes in 4th, but his teammate takes the win.
Highlights of our truncated race today. Here was Jacob Root from the pole, able to snatch the lead away with a good jump at the green flag. Back to the TC field. They took the green flag moments later.
They did. And Austin Smith from the pole grabs the lead down into turn 1. Capizzi tries to give him a hard time, and then a battle ensued, and it just allowed Austin Smith to take off.
Yeah, he went on to sweep the weekend here. You saw him get out in front of that fight, and really the battle was for 2nd from there on. Here, though, it was 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. They're all together at various points in time. This is TCA. a good fight it was. Caleb Bacon lost the top spot to his teammate Luke Rumberg, who came through, and then, whether this is when the engine temps came up or if it happened later, just started plummeting down the field.
It happened already. Maybe that's why he struck the pace there, allowed his teammate to get around, and then he was just swamped momentarily. Then a big moment in this race. Quick touch there between Jones and PJ Gronke, and see the impact with the Mini. Unfortunately, he walked away from that one.
Gronke also found the tire wall at the exit of that corner, just on the other side of the corner. And so the red flag was displayed. With it, the checkered flag. This race comes to an end a little bit early, just 10 laps into the event. Jacob Rude, your winner at TCX, then Steve Strymer and Samantha Tan, the podium for the TCX class. Austin Smith wins 2 races this weekend, able to fend off Tom Capizzi after that great start, and Rob Hines back up onto the podium as well. Eric Powell, Kevin Boehm, they finished by one another. It was a chance for one of them perhaps to make a jump on the other in the points, because neither was running towards the very front, but instead they find each other once again, and that's the way it's been all season.
Got to look in the rearview mirror with Austin Smith sweeping the weekend as well.
Yeah, good point. Luke Rumberg up to the front, gets a big win. That's awesome news for him and the Forbush Performance team. Carter Fartuck in second from the Skip Barber Racing School squad. Michael Carter in his debut weekend, another podium. He was impressive as well for Tech Sport Racing. Comes home third in TCA ahead of Caleb Bacon. And Mike Lamara, good to see that Mike actually got out there in a Mini, it looks like. Had the crash in the TC spec Honda, but able to join the fray here. That, again, those teams kind of under the same tent, more or less, especially if you think of it from a figurative standpoint. Back to victory lane, though, because look at Austin Smith. That is a happy guy. He doesn't care that this race ended early. Why don't we hear from some of our victors down in victory lane with Amanda?
This before, Jacob Rude, the winner in TCX, and I talked to your team and I said the word, why are you so fast? And they said that you are so committed. You look at data the second you get out of this car. Where does your sense of determination come from, Jacob?
Well, you know, I've done this series a couple times in the past in the TC car, and when I heard that they were announcing the new M2, I just thought, hey, we've got a chance here. We've got a chance to do something special, and we've got a chance to make a difference and kind of make an impact in this series. And you know, with that motivation, I've been trying to get better and better after every session, and just continuing to improve. And, you know, we look forward to Road America in a couple months. So.
Sweeps it here at VIR.
And keeps that season sweep going, too. That will roll into Elkhart Lake. Bit of a layoff until that race break on the SRO calendar, as a lot of the attention globally will turn to Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium for the Total 24 Hours of Spa at the end of July. But good stuff here in the TC America, powered by Skip Barber Racing School Series. And everyone will go back to work getting ready for the next round at Elkhart Lake. Back to Amanda now.
Well, another sweep of the weekend belongs to Austin Smith, and you arrive here into victory lane to the cheers of your team. Describe your elation at your display this weekend.
Oh, this was probably a really tough weekend. We started had a big wreck in practice, and we didn't know if we were going to make the weekend, but the crew put it all together. We found a car. We got it. It's all white. We slapped some stickers on it, and we went out, shook it down in qualifying, got on pole, and just never looked back. This one goes to the crew, Auto Technic, sponsors, Upstream Engineering, just everybody, family. Awesome.
Congratulations.
Great story there. Good perseverance. Plenty of those up and down the paddock here at VIR this weekend, finding a way to be on the grid, finding a way to compete, and coming away with a couple of race wins.
Yeah, emotional, and there's a lot goes into this race. We talk about the disappointment of the race ending early. When you think about where everyone comes from, Ryan, the network around the country to be here this weekend, and there's so much effort goes into it, and when you come out on top, it means something.
And finally, the TCA winner, standing by with Amanda.
And it goes to Signal's Luke Rumberg for his first win. Luke, how will you remember this moment?
Oh, it's just going to be absolutely fantastic. Home track for me, and we had some bad luck at COTA, so that put a little dampening on things. But this is going to be a great comeback, and 2 podiums this weekend. I couldn't wish for anything more.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Definitely a name to keep an eye on. He seems to be wrapping his head around this car, and it seems like bright things are ahead for Luke Rumberg. Gets it done in TCA. What a weekend it's been, Calvin.
It was. Big smile on his face. Just so much emotion and elation down there amongst all of our winners. Great performance. Didn't see a ton of green flag racing this weekend in the 3 classes, but they'll rebound, come back to Road America. It should be a fun one.
It should. We look forward to seeing you there. We hope you join us for the next round of the TC America Championship powered by Skip Barber Racing School. But for now, so long from VIR.